Welcome you all. Fear versus Ananda or love. What is fear? Fear is the lack of love, lack of Ananda. And what is Ananda? Ananda is fullness, completeness, uninterrupted peace, knowing of your own being as it is, your true nature. The root cause of the fear is ignorance of your true nature of love or Ananda, and consequent identification with a limited being. Let us investigate into fear. Fear is of two kinds, bodily fear and psychological fear. The bodily fear is natural to the body, which is wired into it in order to protect itself from danger. It is an expression of the intelligence of the body. Bodily natural fear is that part of you which helps build certain caution, and caution is a tool that helps keep the body alive. It is instinctive. Then there is another kind of fear whose function is to protect the separate self or ego that we falsely believe ourselves to be. This is psychological fear. And when the integrity of the separate self is threatened, the layers of beliefs over beliefs are threatened, in other words. The separate self or the ego contracts in resistance. Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is threatening you. Psychological fear is an imaginary mechanism the separate self uses to defend itself against the implications of threatening situations to safeguard its identity. Fear is based on the illusion of personality or ego. Separate self is characterized by lack of peace and fear of death, which are a direct result of ignorance. Ignorance of its essential qualities of infinity and eternity. The root cause of psychological fear, therefore, is the false identification with a body-mind as the doer in time and space, due to the ignorance of our true, eternal, and infinite nature, which will then result in fear of death due to time limitation and lack of peace due to space limitation. Lack of peace or happiness turns into desire or hope for peace and happiness. Deep in the heart of the separate self or the ego is a true self, which is innate freedom. That is why separate self longs for freedom, desires for freedom. Freedom, love, peace is its nature. That's what it is already. But the separate self, eyes awareness, forgets its nature in the interest of experience. Therefore, there is always this struggle going on within the separate self to maintain its status quo and its longing for freedom. Thus, it goes out into the world of objects in an endless search to attain eternity and infinity. Desire, I want this, or raga, and fear, I don't want this, called dvesha, are the hallmarks of a separate self or the ego, desire and fear. Desire and fear are in fact not two different things, but just two aspects of the same one thing. So long as we desire whatever things appear to contribute to our happiness, we will inevitably fear whatever things appear to detract from our happiness. Fear is therefore simply the converse side of desire. Desire and fear coexist. They are like twin sisters. They are the two sides of the same coin. These two forces, attraction and repulsion, attachment and aversion, like and dislike, affect every aspect of life of a separate self. Though it usually remains in a dormant form, our fear of death is in fact the greatest, most fundamental, and most deep-rooted of all our fears. We fear death because it appears to us to be a state of non-existence, a state in which we ourselves will cease to exist, or at least cease to exist as we know now ourselves. Since we love our own being or existence more than we love any other thing, we fear to lose our own being or existence more than we fear any other thing. In other words, our fear of death is rooted in our self-love, our basic love for our own essential self or being. That's why a man tries his level best to preserve his body-mind. All other forms of fear are traceable to this cause, the fear of death. The worst one, worry, for example, known as the first cousin of psychological fear, is an announcement that you hold, a belief that something other than what is best for you could happen. Obviously, fear is an inbuilt mechanism that warns us to be alert. Danger could be at hand. So, it is not something to be ignored. However, when fear threatens to overwhelm us, or when we are chronically anxious, fear is counterproductive. So, how do you get rid of the fear? Do not reject, avoid, or resist the fear. Fear wants you to go outwards and seek relief, refuge in an object or a person. Do not buy into this. Investigate what is behind the fear. Make that your topmost desire. Obviously, fear is known by something. Allowing and witnessing the fear neutralizes the fear. In this neutralization, its background becomes more evident. Its reality shines. Look, there is only one energy. Thus, there is only one energy in motion all the time, E plus motion. And the one emotion is called love. In truth, the experience of fear is the emotion of love distorted. Absent love, fear is not. Fear in its highest form becomes love. Fear in itself, without any resistance, is simply neutral. That resistance is the single thought of a separate entity or ego with a personal doership. Fear is based on the appearance of things, which is limited data. It has nothing to do with ultimate reality. So, expand your data. There are several ways to expand your data and eliminate fear. 1. Watch fear. Be a witness. Do not fight with it. 2. Stay in the present. Stay in the now. 3. Meditate. And 4. Inquire. Get closer. Investigate. Shine light. When you understand your true nature, that you are the totality of your being, body, mind, and soul combined, that you are the impersonal presence of intelligence or awareness, the separate self or ego dissolves, and with it, the fear. Separate self and fear were never really there. It is something you are making up in your mind. Fear is a fiction that appears as real. Deep down, fear is love. All there is only pure love. Ananda, your true nature. Thank you.